To boycott is a verb that is commonly used in English, and it means that you will not do business with someone or a group or with a certain type of people because you want to protest something. So many people will boycott goods from a company because maybe the company has a bad record on the environment, or they have a bad record with workers and labor, or maybe because the goods come from a certain country like China or another country that maybe you don't like. So to boycott is you make a decision to protest by not buying goods or not doing business with a certain company or a group of companies. So you can boycott a store. Now, there's a store that you think maybe does not have a good record on something that is important to you. So you can boycott the store, or many people try to boycott goods made in China, maybe because of their human rights record or because they have a very poor environmental record or for other reasons. But did you ever think about how the word boycott came into English? Because boycott is only a little more than 100 years old as a word in English. Now, think about yourself for a minute. I think most people would love it if they could say that their name became a word in the language. And many names have become words in the English language. Now, of course, you all know Shakespeare. Shakespeare's name has become an adjective, Shakespearean. Very commonly used adjective in English regarding literature, plays from the early 17th century. Or Orwell, Orwellian, has become an adjective based on the name George Orwell. So most people would say, yeah, it'd be great to have your name as a part of the language. But what if your name became part of the language for something negative? Something that you were involved with and you were kind of on the wrong side. Well, that's what happened with a man named Charles C. Boycott. Charles C. Boycott was an Englishman, but he lived in Ireland, and he was a real estate manager. He managed property for wealthy English landowners in Ireland. So most of the land in Ireland in the 19th century was owned by a small number of English landowners. And now here we're getting into with Mr. Boycott, into the late 19th century. Ireland was still a part of the United Kingdom. It was the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland, not Northern Ireland like it is today. It was the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Ireland. And most of the land in Ireland was owned by a small number of rich English landowners. Well, these landowners hired managers to take care of their property. So Charles C. Boycott was not the owner of the property. He was the manager of one of these properties. And the law at the time made it very easy for the managers and the landowners to evict the tenants. To evict the tenants means you kick out the people who are living there, even if they pay their rent. There was nothing to prevent a manager or a landowner from kicking the tenant out of the home or off the farm. Well, Charles Boycott was a manager in County Mayo in Ireland. Today it's the Republic of Ireland. And the tenants demanded a 25% reduction in rents. There was a poor harvest in Ireland that year. And we're talking here in the 1880s. There was a poor harvest. So the tenants wanted the rents reduced because they were not making enough money off of their harvests. Well, Lord Erne, the owner of the property managed by Charles Boycott, agreed to reduce it by 10%. Now, most of the tenants agreed with that compromise, but at least two did not. And so, because of how easy it was to kick people out, because of the refusal to be reasonable on reducing the rents, people all around town decided to not do any kind of business with Mr. Boycott. I almost said boycott, but boycott was not a word yet. But to boycott, boycott. So they refused to do business with him. The people working on the land, they left. The people who owned shops refused to let him buy from them. Even people shop owners, bakers would not provide food for him. Everyone in the town refused to do business with Mr. Boycott. Now, the problem now coming is that there are crops in the field, and all of the workers in the fields refused to work for him. So you had crops ready to rot in the fields. Now, in Ulster County, which is now Northern Ireland, still part of the UK, that's where you had the strongest support for British rule in Ireland. Well, outsiders from Northern Ireland mostly, protected by the army, came in and harvested the crops. So the British Army protected a group of about 50 men from the northern part of Ireland to come down to County Mayo, harvested the crops for Mr. Boycott. But the word of this had spread all through Ireland. And now all through Ireland, people, peasants, land workers were protesting against the landowners and land managers by not doing business with them, not doing work for them, not selling them any goods or services or anything like that. And so all of this, what is now becoming known as boycotting, strengthened the positions of Irish peasants. Now, within 3 decades, Ireland would become an independent country. This was near the end of British rule in most of Ireland. And so you have Charles C. Boycott giving his name into the English language, probably not in a way that he would have liked. But his name is now immortal because the Irish peasants decided not to do business with him. Let's look at a couple of examples on how to use the word. We are boycotting Samsung because the company wants to kill Taiwan. Right? We don't like, many people in Taiwan don't like Samsung because of their company is not exactly the most benevolent towards Taiwan, that's for sure. So many people will not do business. People will not buy products from Samsung. So people are boycotting Samsung. Does it really help to boycott companies with a poor environmental record? There are people who are concerned about the environment, and I'm one of them. I'm concerned about the environment. And if a company has a bad record on protecting the environment, there are people who will boycott such companies. They won't buy goods or services from such companies. But does it really help? Okay. So boycott, we can say boycotting. Okay. We are boycotting goods made in China, or boycotted. We boycotted Burma, but now Burma is improving, so we're not boycotting them anymore. So these are different ways to use the word boycott. The word goes back to about the year 1890 in its use in the English language, and it comes originally from Ireland, from the name of an Englishman who worked in Ireland. 如果你还有英文的问题，你可以上 FB 台中新英文美语，也可以上 YouTube TCNEEnglish。如果你在台中，你要学英文，你找英文老师，你可以上 FB，可以跟我联络。谢谢你收看。